Hello friends, welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to make some sourdough because I decided to learn how to make it this year and I have tried I think every recipe online. I really struggled for a start with my starter and I struggled to get any kind of rise. So I've learned and I'm going to share what I've learned with you, and it's a lot easier than I thought it was when I started, but it has taken months of practice to get into a good rhythm. So normally I would start baking, I'd start my mixing all my ingredients together while I'm making the packed lunches first thing in the morning when the kids are having breakfast, and do my first set of stretching pulls before I take them to school. And this is because I have small children who are up at the crack of dawn. I was going to say something rude then, but I won't. The crack of dawn, and so we're always in the kitchen by about 6:30. So plenty of time then to let it mix and then do the first set of stretch and pulls before I go. Then I'll take them to school, come back, do the next set of stretch and pulls and the following ones through the morning, and then just leave it to its bulk ferment in the afternoon, and then put it in the fridge sort of late afternoon, early evening, depending on how quickly it's risen, how warm the house is, how warm the weather is, whatever's going on. And then the next morning I'll take it out, score it, chuck it in the oven, cook it while I'm making breakfast. It's sitting cooling and it's ready to go for lunchtime. But I'll explain more as we go. It is so easy. So does anyone else keep that buggy in the kitchen? Because you literally have nowhere else to put it. Yeah, that's it. Excuse my fridge. It is a hot mess, but that's life. This is Sally. This is my starter. I love her very much. She's precious to me. I don't know if you can see, but she's got a few little bubbles in her still. So this is cold from the fridge. And that's how I use her, because I'm lazy. I don't feed my starter before I bake. I use it cold straight from the fridge. The only thing I've found is that it maybe takes just a little bit longer for the bulk ferment, but you can kind of tweak that by adding a little bit more starter if you want it to go a bit faster. So what I'm going to do is just grab all my ingredients. Don't judge my messy cupboards. I know your cupboards look the same. Need some water.
Mummy.
Yes, sweetheart.
I'm sharing out my makeup as it was a makeup spoon.
Okay, that's kind.
And we can't have any more.
Okay, that's fine. So water straight from the tap. I don't do any of this line the air on the side. I haven't got time for that. Baby. I have got 2 of my 3 children at home today. One of them's at school, so there's going to be interruptions. Hello, I'm back. We were interrupted, but we're back. So I was getting out all the ingredients and things that I need. We're going to do 2 loaves today. So we're going to do a plain white loaf, and we're going to do a spelt loaf because my husband was recently diagnosed with IBS, so we're trying the FODMAP diet. And according to the FODMAP diet, spelt sourdough is fine as long as you only have like a couple of slices in a day. So we're trying the spelt sourdough as well, so this is going to be an experiment. We're going to find out if that works, but the white loaf will definitely work because I've made that hundreds of times and it's fine. So all we're using is salt, starter straight from the fridge. That's the spelt, that's my strong white, and we're just using water straight out the tap. It's not cold, it's not hot, it's kind of tepid-y. I have used freezing cold water, fine. Again, it just slows the fermentation, so it's fine. I did use really cold water through the summer because we had a really hot summer, and everything was just fermenting way too fast, so I started using cold water, and that kind of slowed it down. But we're in winter now, it's January, it's freezing, so we're using tepid water. But I don't worry about the temperature, I don't worry about anything, as long as it's not hot, because the hot water will kill the yeast in the starter. And we want the starter to be lovely and bubbly and active, so that's fine. I'm going to try and move the camera so you can actually see what I'm doing next. Bear with. Okay, so I think we're back. first thing I do, doesn't matter what order you put your ingredients. Just wanted to hop on and apologise for my hair in the second half of this video because I did not have time in the morning, so I had slept in my plaits and I just left them. So I look like a crazy lady, but that's fine. We'll just roll with it. That's, you know, motherhood. I also want to apologise for the buzzing in the background because I think that's the fridge. Who knew our fridge was so loud? But apparently it is. So sorry, I will try and figure out a way to not have fridge noise in the background when I'm filming, if I film in the kitchen again. And I will put links to everything that I use that is available on Amazon in the comment section below. There will be affiliate links, so if you choose to purchase through them, just know that it doesn't cost you any extra. It's all exactly the same price for you, but it means that we get something back and it will just help to support the channel and allow us to make more videos in the future. So I'd be very grateful if you would consider using it, but it's totally up to you. And as I say, you do not need any special equipment. You don't need a banneton. You can put a tea towel inside a colander and use that instead. There are ways around everything. You do not need anything fancy. But if you chose to have some, you know, if you get into baking sourdough, I'd be very grateful if you would consider using my link. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, so it doesn't matter what order you put your ingredients in at all. I tend to put my water in first. So I like somewhere between 320 and 350 grams of water. I know that's quite a lot of variation, but it just depends on how warm the weather is. So the warmer the weather, the less water I put in. Don't ask me why, but I found that if it was warmer weather, it's fermenting too fast, and for some reason having less water made it easier to manage. At the moment it's winter and it's pretty cold, but we're not freezing. We're sitting about sort of 6 degrees today, and my kitchen's quite warm. It's probably about 18 degrees, and we're going to have the tumble dryer on because I've done a load of laundry. So it's probably going to get reasonably warm in here. So I'm doing 336 grams of water today, which is about average. That's probably what I do most of the time. And then we're going to add the flour. So I like a strong flour. I like this one. It's from the Cotswold Flour people. It's their Canadian, I think it's called Cotswold Flour. I'll need to check it. This is a Canadian blend, and it's got 14 grams or percent or whatever it is of protein. Oh, hello. You okay? Oh, you're grumpy. What are you saying, bud? You just banged your head. You're off again. Sorry, I have got 2 of my 3 children at home today, so we are going to get interrupted. But that is life. Not going to let it stop us. Right, so 500 grams. Making bread, sweetheart. What are you saying?
I just want you to come with me.
I'll come with you when I finish doing this, sweetie. I'm just going to get the bread started.
Could you please put it in the oven?
Sorry, we're back. Right. So we've got the flour in, 500 grams of flour. I actually got 508 grams of flour today, but I don't worry too much about, you know, plus or minus 10-ish grams because it's life. I haven't got time to worry about that. Next, we're adding salt. This is just cheap salt from Asda. I have used nice salt. I can't honestly taste the difference, but maybe I've got rubbish taste buds. Hello, what are you doing? What are you doing? Mommy's busy. You want to come up? Okay. So we're adding 7 grams of salt-ish. That'll do. I did try making it without salt because I like to have I don't use salt usually in cooking at all. And when I tried making it without salt, it was just really, really, really sweet. Really sweet, and it was almost inedible. And I mean, I like sweet things like the best times, but I don't like sweet bread. I'm not a big fan of brioche. I'm not a big fan of, I like a hot cross bun, but nothing too sweet. Anyway, so we've chucked the salt in. I don't worry. Some people get awful worried about putting the salt in the starter. I do not worry. Right, you go down for a minute, sweetheart, because I need 2 hands for this bit. I need 2 hands. I need 2 hands. Right, so here is my starter. It looks like cement, but I promise you, it's good. It smells delicious. It smells sweet. So I want roughly, oh, I dropped a bit already. I want roughly 50 grams of starter, roughly. A bit more, a bit less. In summer, I would put in a bit less because it will ferment quicker. And in winter, if I wanted it to do it quicker, I would put in a bit more. So you can kind of control how fast your loaf ferments with the amount of starter you're using. So that's what I tend to do. But I'm at 45. A little more yesterday, so I'll try and get the extra. We're at 53, that'll do. Right, I'm going to put that one to one side for a moment while I measure out the spelt loaf. So we need the spelt and we need this. So spelt's an ancient grain, and I read that, whoops a daisy, I read that it doesn't want as much water. So we're going to knock back the amount of water. So we're at 319 grams of water. So we'll try that. We'll see what happens. So that's off. Again, doesn't matter what order I'm putting the ingredients in. I don't think it matters. Some people get awful worried about, oh, the starter must have touched the salt and the starter must be mixed in the water first. I don't think it makes any difference. Right, so we're going to go again for 500 grams of this, because I'm just going to adapt my normal recipe just to be in this flour, and we'll see what happens. $498, that'll be me. Right, and then the salt. Oh, did I put it away? Silly woman, I wasn't done with you. So again, we'll do about 7-ish grams of salt. Salt to taste. You can do however many grams you like, but salt to taste. And then again, we'll do about 50 grams of starter. I know this starter is not spelt only or gluten-free or, you know, all of that kind of stuff, but he isn't celiac, he isn't allergic, he's just a bit intolerant. So there is some gluten in what was I saying, spelt. So we're just going to go with it and see what happens. And if he's still irritated by it, then we'll change the recipe up. So I don't know if you can see this, but I've pretty much emptied my starter, and that's how I like it before I fill it. So we'll fill the starter later. So I hate using my hands for the first mix because it just gets all claggy and I don't like the feel of it, and I'm not fancy. I haven't got a fancy whisk. I don't have any of that kind of, I just don't want that many tools in my kitchen, to be honest. I only keep what I actually use. You okay? You okay, Alf? No, what's wrong? You're grumpy. I think you're needing a sleep, bud. Yeah, kids have not been sleeping well this week. I don't know what it is. Don't know whether it's the weather or, don't know, growth spurts or time of year. Nobody's, touch wood, nobody's sick. But yeah, it's January, isn't it? I mean, I think they're all just coming off a sugar high after Christmas, because I mean, my kids, I don't know about your kids, but my kids ate nothing but advent calendars and chocolate oranges, it felt like, for a month. So it's just getting back into the swing of it. So we're just mixing it, and it's just going to get to be a shaggy kind of mess, basically, and we're not going to worry about it. Don't know if you can see better. That's the spelt one. It looks like that. It doesn't look very appetizing. And stick a lid on it and chuck it over on the corner so it can start doing its thing. And this is my normal white loaf. So again, just using the same tool because I do not have time to be messing about between things. But I did the spelt one first, so it's getting less of the gluten contamination, I guess. But it's still got gluten in it, but maybe one day we'll try gluten free and see what that does. But we're just going to mix this together, and then once it's mixed, we're going to leave it for somewhere between half an hour to an hour. I like to leave the first one longer if I can. It just depends on how busy life is and what I'm doing. Because it needs, like, the flour absorbs the water. Sounds mad. I don't understand the science behind it. This is just what works. So you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, I'll hold it up in a second. It's a daisy, we lost a bit. It's not one though. It's a really shaggy kind of dough, not all the flour's incorporated. It's just sitting there in the bottom. The angle on this is probably rubbish for you to actually see what I'm doing. I'm doing my best. I can only get better, right? Practice makes perfect, and I've spent a year perfecting making bread, so if I get better at filming, it can only get better, right? So that's what that one looks like. It's not, you know, all together and what have you, but it's fine. So again, we're going to put the lid on this and we're going to leave them both for somewhere between half an hour to an hour, just depending on life. I've got laundry I need to go and sort out, and I've got one small child down here who's pawing at me. He's looking for a biscuit. He's not getting another biscuit just now because he's already had 2 this morning, and that is more than enough for a tiny human. It is. So we are going to go and do that, and we'll catch you again when we're ready to do our first stretch and fold. Okay, so it's been about an hour, so we're going to do our first stretch and pull. This is what the spelt one's looking like. Pretty slimy, but it won't in a minute, I promise. So I just lift it from one side of the bowl and tuck it in the other side. Lift and tuck, lift and tuck, lift and tuck. And you can see it's still kind of stretchy and slimy. It's not coming into a dough yet, but it will. I have faith. This one is an experiment, but it's gonna be fine. And I'm not soft with it. I'm not gentle. Give it a good little shove. If you're feeling grumpy with somebody, if somebody's been annoying you, take it out on the dough. It can take it. It's nice and strong. So there we go. That's the first stretch and pull. It's literally an hour after I started this dough, so it's had time for the water to be absorbed by the flour, and it's come together. I can actually lift it up now, and it looks pretty good. Quite pleased with that. Shouldn't have done that. My finger's stuck in it. So it's not, you can see my fingers are a bit sticky because I just stuck them in that. That was a great idea. So that's what it looks like back in the bowl. It looks a lot better. We're going to leave that for another hour. Well, not an hour, somewhere between half an hour and an hour to do its next proof. And this is how the normal one is looking. It's also not looking great at the moment, but watch this. So again, lift, and it you know, it's breaking, and shove it down. Lift and shove it down. Lift across itself and shove it down, and it will come together and it will be beautiful. You're going to have a lovely dough, I promise. It's going to be so nice, and you can see how quickly this is coming together. So quickly. Sorry if you can hear noise in the background. It is coming up for lunchtime and the kids are starving, so I've just given them their lunch, but they're not impressed because it's got to cool down. Do your kids only eat stuff when it's freezing cold as well? Mine, honestly, I could give them a lovely hot dinner and they'll wait for half an hour until it's stone cold before they'll even look at it. So, I don't know. At what age do they grow out of that and actually start eating their food hot? Because it's frustrating sometimes because you sit and you think, well, I've made this and I finished my tea, and they're still sitting there just looking at it, and then as soon as it's frozen, they're happy to have it. Anyway, I don't worry about how many times around. I've seen people be like, only do 4, that's all you need to do. Fine, if you can get away with 4, that's fine, but I like mine to come together into a nice ball. So that's, again, I lift it up, it's a nice dough, chuck it back in. I am a little bit messy at this point. People are like, you know, once you've done your stretch and pulls, you don't get any stuff on your fingers. I always get a little bit of something on my fingers. I don't think that's bad. So he's also going to go back into the corner for half an hour to an hour, just depending on when I get a chance to come back. I'm just going to wash my hand, and then I forgot earlier to feed Sally the starter, so we're going to feed Sally as well. Okay, so we're going to feed the starter. So we take his little silicone hat off. I got this little jar on Amazon, and honestly, I really like it. It's got your measurements down the side, which to be honest, I don't use, but you could. It's got a little thermometer on the front, so you can see at the moment the kitchen's up to about 20 degrees. I don't know if you can see that, but that's because the tumble dryer has been on, so it's quite warm in here. You get this kind of build up around the edges, and occasionally I'll take a little bit of starter out, stick it in a bowl, and then wash the jar. But honestly, this doesn't matter at all, so I just tend to leave it. And you've got this kind of time band around it. So what I tend to do is if I'm bothered, which is very, very, very rare, if I was going to do something fancy that I'd not done before and I really needed like active warm starter, I would put I don't know if you can see it, it says the day of the week and the time. So I tend to use this as my marking line because it's quite handy. So today is Tuesday, so I would put it to Tuesday, and we're about lunchtime, so I'd put it to there if I was, well, I am going to feed it now. And then I would know how long it's taken to activate, rise, bubble, whatever you want to call it, from when I fed it. And also I use an elastic band just to mark the level of the stuff that I put in, so I can see when it's doubled in size. Now we're going to feed it. So I like to feed mine whole grain bread flour. Well, this is whole grain rye actually, because I find that if I feed it white, it's really sluggish. So I'm using half a cup. I tend to feed it half a cup. And I only feed it probably, at the moment I'm feeding about once a week, but if I'm baking a lot, I'll feed every couple of days. But I always try and take it down to nothing first, because I find if you leave, you know, like this much in the bottom and then you're feeding it, it starts to get sluggish. It's one of these things, treat it mean to keep it keen. If you want it active, be mean to it. It loves it. It's a little bit of a, Sally likes it mean. Let's put it that way. So that was half a cup of rye flour, and now I'm putting in just under, I don't know if you can see, there's not quite half a cup of water. So I always give it just slightly less water than the flour, so it's not quite a 50-50 ratio, because if I give it fully a 50-50 ratio, I find it's too runny. I like my starter to be really thick. It seems to just be more active. It gives my loaves a better rise. I don't know. Anyway, then I just mix it. This little black pokey stick came with the jar and it does the job really well, or I'll use my red spatula that I used earlier. Whatever's to hand, I'm not fussy. And then I try and scrape down the sides a wee bit as I'm doing it as well. And just make sure it's all mixed together. I'll scrape that down. So I'm trying to spread it out a bit so you can kind of see how much is in the bottom here. It's not the easiest thing to do because it is very, very stiff. If I was feeding it white for a particular reason, I would use even less water than what I've used today. So you can see we're about, roughly about that much in the bottom. And that's what it's looking like. It smells delicious, I can't tell you. Even feeding it a rye flour, I don't find that it flavours my white loaves in an unpleasant way. I quite enjoy the flavour. Oh, that's the tumble dryer. Hold on, it's under there, I've just turned it on. I find it's quite enjoyable. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. But yeah, I find it gives it the best flavour and the best rise. I think whole grain and rye, because they've got the whole husk in, they've got more natural yeasts on. So if you're finding your starters sluggish or not working as well as what you would like, maybe try feeding it a whole grain. I've got a friend who started baking recently and they switched to feeding their starter whole grain, and they've had no problem since. That was literally the problem they were having, was their starter just wasn't active enough. So there you go. Well, I'll do another video about starters because I feel like I've got a lot to say about starters, and how to make one, how not to make one, which is probably the moral of the video. Just get one off somebody. Right. Let me wash my hand again because I just scraped that down, and then we'll put it to rest. So when it is going to be activating, bubbling, doing its thing, it gets this lovely little beigey bonnet. So it's a breathable little hat. So I put that on when it's going to be, you know, growing. and then I put on its little silicone cap when it's going in the fridge, just so it stays nice and fresh. And that's pretty much it. So we'll check that again every time we do our stretch and folds. So we're going to leave them now. I think I've already told you, but we're going to leave them for 30 to 60 minutes, just depending on how busy I get. And then we'll come back and do them. And we're going to do 3 more stretch and folds probably, just because time's marching on. I don't usually do more than 4, but sometimes just if the dough is really sluggish, I will. But yeah, I didn't start this dough first thing in the morning today because I was filming it, and doing that and getting 3 kids to school was just not happening. So it is now about lunchtime, so we've got plenty of time to do this today, but we'll just not do loads of stretch and folds. We'll get away with it. It'll be fine. Hello. So we are back for our second set of stretch and pulls. So this is what the dough is looking like at the moment for the spelt loaf. It's kind of slimy. What time are we at? It's been 40 minutes since the first set. So as I say, anywhere between 30 minutes and 60 minutes is fine. Doesn't even matter if you go over 60 minutes. And actually I have at some points in the summer when we've been going out and I've started a loaf and then thought, oh, it's a lovely day, let's go out for the day. I've done, let's say, 2 sets of stretch and pulls first thing in the morning, chucked it in the fridge because we were going out and it's too hot to let it do anything on its own, and then come back, pulled it out the fridge and just carried on, and it's fine, absolutely fine. It's so forgiving, it's so easy. All the videos I watched made it seem so complicated, and so, oh, you must do this and it's really finicky and it's blah 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 blah. As long as you've got a good active starter, that's the key. If you've got a good active starter, you don't seem to be able to go far wrong. I'm doing way more stretch and pulls than it probably needs because I like it, so that's nice. That actually feels fine for saying it's a spelt loaf, and I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out because spelt's supposed to be a bit finicky. It actually feels totally fine, so we'll see. It's supposed to have, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's supposed to have less gluten than the normal kind of loaf, and mine definitely will have less because I like the high protein flour. So it's like 14, I don't know whether it's grams, percentage, whatever it is, it's 14, and a normal bread flour I think is around about 12. So there you go. This is the strong white flour one. It's looking fine. We're just going to stretch and pull, and again you take it from, so you pinch it from the opposite side, pull it up, over and tuck it in, up, over and tuck it in. It's so easy, so satisfying. I love touching it when it's like this. It's so nice. I love it. Sometimes when I'm going out, I'll get my husband to do the stretch and pulls, and the first couple of times he was like terrified to touch it, didn't know what to do, and now he's quite gutted when I do them because that's it just now, because he really likes it. The stretch and pulls are just building the gluten structure in the sourdough, so it just makes it have those like bubbly juiciness that you love. So that's it. So we're going to give them again another 30 to 60 minutes and we'll come back and check it again. Here's how Sally's doing just now. So you can see not a huge amount has happened, but she takes a while. She'll take probably about 6 hours at the moment to look good. What temperature are we sitting at the minute? Still sitting around about 20. So that's fine. We're not going to worry about that. Oh, of course, it's got all doughy. Everybody says you don't get dough on your hands when you do your stretch and pulls. I beg to differ. I always get a bit of dough on my hands, but it doesn't bother me. By the time you get to the last stretch and pull, less so, because it's getting less sticky and more together every single time, but that's fine. And it's just that easy. Right, I'll check in again when it's the next set. Okay, so we're back for the 3rd stretch and fold, I think. Is this the 3rd? Yeah, I've lost count. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. The kids are watching telly for 5 minutes so that I can do this. This is the spelt one. It's been about half an hour again. Maybe just slightly under. You can see how warm the kitchen is because it just keeps melting. Melting back into its little ball. But you can see, like, it really doesn't take a lot of time or effort. Like, the biggest effort is measuring the stuff out, and it just takes a minute. once you're doing it regularly, you know, you kind of know how much you're putting in. So there you go, that's that guy. He's looking surprisingly good. This might be a good experiment, I don't know. Right, and let's try this one. So this is my normal one. It's looking better, it's less melty, so it's definitely got a bit more gluten structure than the other one. I read with the spelt as well, you shouldn't overwork it, so maybe I'm overworking it. I don't know. Well, we're going to treat it the same as my normal recipe today and see what happens. And if it's overworked, we'll just not give it 4 stretch and folds next time. So you can see I'm having to push in quite hard this time. It's a lovely ball. Look how beautiful that is. Oh, isn't it lovely? Beautiful. Very little on my hands this time, but there is still some. I don't know what these people are doing who say they've got nothing on their hands. Anyway, that is them away in the corner again for another half an hour to an hour, just depending on what happens with the lads. We're currently at just after 1, so hopefully we'll get it all sorted. Hello, we are back for the final stretch and fold. This is number 4. It's been about 40 minutes-ish. This is the spelt dough. It's looking slimy. I don't really know how to describe that. But once you start doing the stretch and folds, it is actually coming together pretty nicely. Do worry that I'm overworking this dough, but we're going to find out. I haven't done that much research on spelt, so we'll see. But it is still, you know, when you work it, it does still come together nicely. It's still making a nice dough. I'm going to stop because I am worried about overworking that, so we'll just leave him to start his bulk ferment. This guy looking great. People say you've got to wait until it like fully relaxes and stuff. I have to say, there's been days where I've only waited like 20 minutes between stretch and folds and it's been absolutely fine. I haven't really noticed much difference in my bake. Oh, so satisfying. I just love it. Look at that. Hallelujah. Glorious. Beautiful. You don't need to be gentle with it. It likes it rough. My sourdough likes being rough, manhandled. The thing reckons we are still about 20-ish degrees. Still not much activity so far. Still looking pretty much the same. But I don't expect much out of this for another few hours. So we'll check back with that later when we've done the bulk ferment with everything else. And see what's happening. There we go. Catch you later. Okay, so it's about 4 hours later. And we're coming back to check the stuff. So this is the spelt one. You can see it's starting to bubble on the top and it's, I mean, they say they want it to have doubled in size. I don't usually bother waiting for them to double in size. I just give them 4 to 6 hours just based on how busy I am and when I get back to sort them out. So this is just plain flour. Everyone says rice flour is better, gives a crispier coat, but I haven't been able to find any and I don't have the time to go looking every 5 minutes. So I just put a light dusting in the banneton, not too much, just so that it doesn't stick. And then I'm just going to do exactly what we did earlier and stretch and fold this guy into the middle. I don't worry if it's like fully risen to halfway and all the rest. I don't worry about that at all because it's still going to carry on fermenting in the fridge. It's just going to be slower. And I find the longer you leave it in the fridge, the slow ferment, the sourer it tastes. I really like it really sour. So sometimes I'll leave it in the fridge for like 3 days before I cook it. But the minimum I want to leave it is 12 hours. 14 hours is kind of ideal. So there we go. That is a very, very, very loose dough compared to normal. That's the spelt one. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but we'll figure it out tomorrow. So I pull it together into a ball and then chuck it into the banneton. I don't really care that it's a long banneton. It's going to settle. You can see it settling already. It's going to settle itself. And then it goes into this. This is a bin liner for a small bathroom bin. And I just put it in so that it's airtight so it doesn't get skin on it. Sometimes if I haven't got a clip free, I'll just fold it underneath, like twist it around and fold it. So same again, just a little bit of flour And exactly the same. I don't do any of that fancy shaping with the tension and stuff. I don't find it needs it. So you can see this one hasn't quite doubled in size. It's just a little bit bigger than what it was, but it's going to be absolutely fine. Sorry if you can hear a lot of noise in the background. It's tea times. The kids are eating and they're being really good and not talking while I do this, but there's a lot of noise because that's life. We got a family, we're working around it. You can see the difference of this one when I put it together. It makes a lovely firm ball. That's not doing anything different. Probably just because there's so much more gluten, I guess, in the strong white flour. Anyway, so in he goes. And then same again. We're just gonna pop him in the bag. Pop a little clippy on him. And I just keep these bags, I just air them out, and Bannisons, I just air them out after I've used them, and I'll keep them and reuse them until they're, you know, not usable anymore, because saving the planet, sort of. So I'm just going to stick both of these into the fridge now, and that's them, and then we'll come back in the morning and cook them. And then I'll show you how I put them in a tin and cook them, and that's super easy and fuss-free as well. Hopefully this has encouraged you, if anything, because it really isn't difficult, and honestly it fits around your life. You don't have to baby it, you don't have to set timers, you don't have to be fussy, you can just fit it in. It is easy. It's hard the first couple of times because you know, anything's hard the first time because you're still learning, but after that it gets really easy. So we'll just check on the starter at the moment. You can see we're starting to get a few bubbles around the bottom, but it's not risen yet, so he's going to get left out a bit longer. Still looking the same inside. So we'll leave him a wee while longer until he doubles in size. I have got to take my eldest to swimming lessons, so once I get her back and then get everybody into bed, we'll come back and check on that. So it's been about 8 hours since we mixed the starter and it's pretty much ready. So you can see we're sort of virtually, I was a little bit high maybe with this, but we're virtually doubled, and there's some really good bubbles in there. You can see how thick it is, and honestly it's not as visually satisfying as do you know when you see all those reels of people's starters and they're all like bubbling and they're almost overflowing, they're so bubbly. But trust me, sorry, I also cut my finger earlier. It wasn't cut the whole day, just recently. But this makes really, really good bread. So we're going to take his little bonnet off now. That's what it looks like inside. Not much different to earlier. Still looks like cement. It's still kind of stodgy. And we're just going to pop on his little silicone cap and pop Sally to bed in the fridge, and she will stay there until I'm ready to bake with her. I've left her for about a week without using her, and she's been absolutely fine. She smells delicious, and she's just so active and so strong. I've tried feeding her with white flour and with different stuff, and she's just like, she might bubble more and look great initially, but she just does not work the same, and she does not work the same coming straight out the fridge. So if you're wanting to bake straight out the fridge like I do, like first thing in the morning, or you know, just whenever suits you, I would definitely recommend using a whole grain flour, knocking back your water slightly, and just making a really, really thick, very, very active starter, and going right from virtually nothing in your, you know, like a very tiny amount, just the scrapings left in your jar. Because as I say, she likes to be treated mean. She thrives on it. All right, I'm going to go to bed, and I will catch you tomorrow for some baking. Hello. Well, this is the next day, and normally I bake in the morning, but I've delayed it so that I can film because I've done the school run and some other bits and bobs this morning. So I'm just going to grab the first bread out of the fridge. This one is, I'm not sure which one it is. Let's have a look. Got very excited. So this looks like the normal loaf. I'm going to guess that's the normal loaf. Should have labelled them, didn't bother. Too busy. So I baked from a cold oven. So I'll just stick the oven on now. So I just stick it on to oven mode. The fan oven is what I've got. and it's on 220 degrees, and I bake for 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes in a cold tin with the lid on the whole time, because I don't have time to faff about preheating ovens and wasting electricity and then heating up tins and burning myself, and it's too much faff. So I do it the easy way, and I promise you this will work. The only thing I will say is I used to bake it in a casserole dish that had a vent in the lid, and it worked fine, but it always sank in the middle, and I got to the point where I could not figure out why it was always sinking in the middle. And then I saw this in Asda for about a tenner, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to get it. It's just an enamel roasting dish. I only use it for making the bread, so it is what it is. I will wash it one day. So I use this because it doesn't have a vent in the lid, and all of a sudden my bread was actually rising. I was like, hallelujah, solve the problem. So we're going to bake in this. There's a little bit of greaseproof paper to line the bottom of it. And so I'm going to move you and bring it over here so you can see how I do this now. Hopefully this is going to work. Okay, hopefully that's fine. So I put the piece of parchment over the top and turn it out. Beautiful. And then I don't know what this guy's called. Is it a lame, a lame, a lamb? I have no idea. Anyway, he came free with my bannetons, otherwise I would never have bothered getting one. I would have just used a knife. You can just use a knife if you want to. You don't have to buy the fancy kit. So you can see he's holding together quite nicely, and you can give him a little smack, and he's quite lovely. So I do a very easy pattern. You don't have to do any patterns. And I just go and then the only thing that's important, really, I find, is to do a pretty deep score. So I want to go kind of the whole depth of the blade.
Mummy.
Yes, sweetheart.
The bunting is mine.
Okay. Do you want to go wash your face?
Nah.
Okay.
I left my makeup's in Elsie's bathroom.
Oh, okay, sweetheart. He's been playing makeovers. Yeah, so you want to go about the depth of the blade. You don't have to score it. You could just let it like expand and crack itself in the oven, but it looks fancier if you do. So, I don't know if you can see him. Pop him in. I like to just move his bits of paper out the way a wee bit. Lid on, and that is going into the oven, the cold oven, for 50 minutes. And I'll check back with you when I get out. Okay, well the oven's about to beep, so I'm just going to get the other one out ready. So we'll stick that one in as soon as we get this one out of the oven. And it's nearly ready. What are you thumping over there? You're being cheeky.
Cheeky.
Cheeky, yeah. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna make your sandwich in just a second. Okay. Hopefully it's not too hot and I don't burn myself. You ready? Da, 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 da. Look, bread! Bread! It's so good. Look at it. Can you see the pattern on it? It's looking amazing. Smells great. It's got a wee pattern underneath. And listen, are you ready? Oh, can't wait for this to cool down so I can eat it. So this is I'm going to say that's the white sourdough. And then the other one is going to be the spelt, I think. So we're waiting to put the spelt into the oven just now. So I'm going to move angles to try and show you how I put that one in the oven. There we go. I should do. Right. So same kind of idea as with the first one. So you can see it's carried on proving in the fridge as well. It's grown quite a lot. Just using the same parchment paper. You can see it's not quite as firm as the first one. There's a little bit more play in it. I'm going to do exactly the same because I only know one pattern. One day I'll learn more. But for right now, I need it easy. And again, trying to go the full depth of the blade if I can.
What are you making? Are you making a sandwich?
I'm going to make your sandwich in just 1 second. Let me just get this in the oven. Ooh.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Good thing of the centre of the universe. Right, so I'm going to cook it for the same amount of time. I'm going to give it 50 minutes and I'll meet you back here when it's done. So that is the spelt beeping, so we're going to get it out. And see, I'm kind of nervous because this was quite an experiment, but we'll see. Ooh. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Doesn't look the best. I wonder if I maybe needed to put a bit less water in. Let's tip it out and see. That's not terrible. That is not terrible. Not terrible at all. Well, I'm going to give them a couple of hours to cool and then we will come back and cut into them and see what they look like. Hello friends! So it is tea time now. We're about to have our tea. We're having some soup. So I'm going to chop up some bread to go with the soup. We're going to start with the spelt one first. This was such an experiment. We have got lovely bubbles on the crust and things. It does look good. I'm just not convinced it was quite right. I might need to do a bit more experimenting, but I think it's going to be edible. It annoys me to no end when people just cut their sourdoughs right down the middle for the sake of a YouTube video, because then I think, well, it's just going to dry out. Who's eating that much in a day? So I'm not going to do that. I'm such a rebel. I'm not chopping my bread in the middle. I'm just going to cut a couple of slices and we'll have a look and see what the crumb structure is like. Oh God, it's tough. I like a tough crust. If you want less of a tough crust, you could cook it for a bit shorter time. I've done it for 40 minutes in the past and it turned out absolutely fine. Look at that. That's nice. It's not the best, but it's not a complete failure. It's not a pancake. And anyway, that's my husband that has to eat this one because he's the one on the FODMAP diet. So I'm going to call that a win. For saying it's my first attempt, I think that's not bad. Look at that. Look at the bubbles in there. That's not terrible. And it smells like bread. It doesn't smell funky. Like, it smells sweet like a nice loaf. So I'm quite pleased with that, really. Right, now here's my beauty, my good bake. Look at this. It's a thing of beauty. I am really chuffed with this. I'm telling you, sourdough is so much easier. It does take a minute. Once you get into the swing of it, it's so much easier. And like the first few are experiments, like the spelt loaf. But once you get going with it, it's so easy and you get in a rhythm. And you just have to figure out the amounts of ingredients and things for what works for you. Because everyone's got hard water or soft water or more chlorine, less chlorine, I don't know, all the different variations. Everyone's got different levels of humidity. It's great. Look at it. And it's so spongy and soft and squishy and just cannot wait to eat it. I am obsessed with bread. If you, oh look at that, glorious. If you've got any super duper top tips, drop them in the comments because I'm always looking to learn more and get better. But I am fairly chuffed with that. After best part of a year practicing, I think I've cracked a good normal loaf. Definitely need more practice on the spelt, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to leave this video here. If you've made it this far, well done you, because I feel like this has been a slog. I'm really sorry. There's been a lot of children chatting and appearing and disappearing in the background, and I feel like it's been a lot of start, stop, trying to film different bits of the process. But I hope it's been useful, and I hope it's been encouraging that it is just practice and figuring out what works for you in your area with your water, your temperature, your humidity, your, all the other stuff. And just, just go for it. You can only regret the things you don't do. So keep going, friends, keep going. And well done if you made it this far. I would love it if you would like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.